Chosen ones, listen closely. There's a reason life slows you down before it lifts you up. Many mistake silence for emptiness, but in truth, silence is where destiny gathers its strength. The old masters of Shaolin understood this deeply. They trained their bodies with intensity, yet they guarded their rest like treasure, because they knew without stillness, power scatters. Without rest, wishes collapse before they bloom. Today, I will take you into the hidden wisdom of resting before your blessing arrives. You will learn why the pause before movement is not wasted time, but the most crucial part of mastery. You will see how the quiet moment is not weakness, it is the unseen force that makes your wish possible. Think of the archer. The arrow does not fly because of strength alone, it flies because of the still moment before release. That silence, that breath, is the true source of power. The same law applies to you. The dream you've carried, the wish you've prayed for, it is already forming. But before it arrives, you must master the discipline of rest. Stay with me until the end, because each teaching I share is drawn from centuries of Shaolin wisdom and from lessons hidden in plain sight. You will uncover truths that most overlook, the reasons why rest sharpens clarity, why patience is a hidden form of strength, and why stillness is the silent gate through which your wish will enter. There is a rhythm that holds everything together. The river does not rush without pause. It flows, then bends, then rests in still pools. The breath does not stay fixed. It rises, it falls, and in between there is silence. The Shaolin masters paid close attention to these patterns because they reveal the truth of how life unfolds. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. If you are ready to walk this path of discipline and awakening, I invite you to subscribe and join our circle. Your journey begins here, in the silence before the call. That moment stayed with me. I realized energy is not meant to be forced endlessly. It must move in cycles, like day and night, like the seasons, like the beating of the heart. Even the strongest warrior collapses if he does not honor these cycles. When I was a young student in the monastery, I believed discipline meant constant effort. I trained without stopping, pushed my body beyond its limits, and thought rest was weakness. One morning, my master watched me struggle through my forms. He said nothing at first. Then he walked to the training ground, drew one deep breath, and exhaled slowly. He asked me, "Do you see how the breath itself teaches balance? Without exhale, the inhale has no meaning. Without rest, effort is wasted." For the chosen ones, this truth is vital. Downtime is not laziness, it is sacred. It is the gathering of strength before the next release. Many miss this and believe their path requires endless struggle, but struggle without pause breaks the spirit. The pause is where the spirit recovers, where clarity returns, where purpose sharpens again. Just as the bow must be drawn back before the arrow flies, your rest is not a delay, it is the preparation that gives meaning to action. To resist this rhythm is to resist life itself. To embrace it is to walk in harmony with the way things truly are. Beneath the soil, a seed lies in darkness. To the eye, it seems lifeless, still, forgotten. But within that silence, change is already unfolding. The seed is splitting, stretching, sending roots into unseen depths. It does not rush to the surface. It prepares in secret. Only with time does the green shoot break through the earth. This hidden stage carries a lesson many overlook. Rest is not the absence of progress. It is the very ground where progress begins. Just as the seed trusts the soil to hold it, you must trust the quiet moments to shape you. Growth does not always announce itself with noise or movement. Sometimes the most powerful transformations take place where no one can see. So when life pulls you into stillness, do not despair. The soil stage is sacred. It is the unseen labor of creation. Trust that the roots are forming. Trust that your wish is alive beneath the surface. And when the time is right, it will break through with unstoppable force. In Shaolin practice, this is known as the discipline of patience. A master does not demand the flower to bloom before its season. He tends to the soil, he waters, he waits. Impatience would only destroy what is forming. In the same way, your wish is germinating beneath the surface of your life. You may not see it yet, but the unseen does not mean the unreal. The true test lies in endurance. holding steady in the quiet stage without surrendering to doubt. Many abandon their path because they mistake silence for emptiness, but silence is where destiny takes root. The warrior learns to rest not because nothing is happening, but because everything is happening in hidden form. There is an old teaching in Taoist practice called Wu Wei, the art of effortless action. At first, it sounds like a paradox. How can one act without acting? But the masters understood it not as passivity, but as alignment. It is the wisdom of moving with the river instead of fighting against its current. A young monk once asked his teacher why his strikes felt heavy and slow during training. The master took him to a bamboo grove after the rain. He pointed to a stalk bending under the weight of water. The bamboo did not resist. It did not fight the drops clinging to it. It bowed. And when the time came, the drops fell away, and the stalk returned upright with no effort at all. This, the master said, is the way of action without strain. Rest carries the same power. When you step back, when you stop forcing, you begin to sense the natural rhythm of events. This is not weakness, it is discipline, because it requires faith in timing beyond your control. You allow the soil to nourish the seed instead of tearing it open. You allow the fruit to ripen before you harvest it. In the monastery, training was relentless. Hours of stances, strikes, and forms that tested both body and mind. Yet even in this intensity, the masters never allowed endless struggle without pause. They knew what many forget, that strength is not built by exertion alone, but by the balance between effort and recovery. To rest is to trust the unseen order. To act too soon is to stumble. But to wait, to listen, and then move when the moment calls, that is mastery. That is the art of doing without doing. The chosen ones learn that wishes cannot be dragged into existence. They arrive when the moment is ripe. And when it does ripen, action flows with such ease it feels as if life itself is carrying you forward. There is no resistance, no struggle, only the quiet certainty that this is the time. The lesson is clear. Even warriors who train their bodies to endure must honor the rhythm of pause. Muscles repair in stillness. The mind clears in silence. Without recovery, even the strongest foundation crumbles. This is why the ancients considered balance not a weakness, but a weapon. There was a season when a young disciple, eager to prove himself, refused to rest. Each day he pushed harder, running drills until his body trembled. At first he felt powerful, but soon his movements grew heavy, his strikes lost precision, and his spirit dulled. One morning, he collapsed in the training yard. The master lifted him gently and said, "You have confused stubbornness with discipline. A sword drawn without sheath will not stay sharp." For chosen ones, the same law applies. Life is not an endless battle to be fought each hour. To fight without pause is to burn out before your true calling arrives. Rest does not make you less, it makes you ready. It sharpens your vision, strengthens your patience, and gathers your energy for the moment it is truly needed. The Shaolin monks understood this deeply. Meditation was not simply for peace, it was for sharpening awareness. A disciple once asked why they spent so many hours sitting in silence instead of training with weapons. The master replied, "What use is a sword in the hand if the mind holding it is clouded? To see clearly is the greatest weapon." Balance is mastery. Knowing when to advance and when to retreat, when to strike and when to wait is the mark of wisdom. Rest, then, is not a retreat from your path. It is part of your power. The warrior who knows how to pause will always rise stronger than the one who never stops. Noise does not only come from the world outside, it also rises within the restless thoughts, the constant worries, the endless rehearsing of what might come. When the mind is full of this noise, clarity fades, the path blurs. Even when blessings arrive, they pass by unseen, hidden beneath the storm of distraction. Without silence, a blessing may come and go, mistaken for chance or overlooked entirely. With silence, you recognize its arrival, and you are ready to receive it. Rest and stillness are not escapes from life, but tools for seeing life as it truly is. When the body slows and the breath deepens, the mind begins to settle. Truths no longer rush like water in flood, they flow like a calm stream. In that clarity, even the smallest sign becomes visible. The quiet nudge, the subtle opportunity, the quiet arrival of what you have been waiting for, these are only noticed by the one who has learned to be still. Chosen ones must treat rest as sacred, because silence sharpens vision in a way that constant effort cannot. The moment you learn to clear inner noise, you begin to hear the whispers of destiny. And when your wish appears, it will not slip past unnoticed. You will see it, honor it, and step into it with full awareness. In the old stories, a disciple once asked his master how to catch water in his hands. The master told him to tighten his fists and dip them into the river. When he pulled them back, his palms were empty. Then the master asked him to relax his hands, open and still. This time, the water filled them with ease. The river gives more to the hand that does not grasp, he said. There is a quiet strength in letting go. To rest is to place your faith in life, to release the constant grasping that drains both body and spirit. Many think power is shown by holding on tightly, by chasing, by never loosening the grip. But the ancients taught a different truth. What is truly yours cannot be stolen, delayed, or lost. This is the way of trust. The chosen ones understand that chasing blinds you to the natural flow. In chasing, you declare that life is not enough, that timing is against you, that your wish must be forced into being. But in resting, you declare faith. You show that you believe in the rhythm of life, that what belongs to you will find you when the time is right. True power reveals itself not in endless pursuit, but in the rare courage to set the burden down and breathe, to still believe when the hands are empty. That is mastery. The farmer does not dig up the soil each morning to see if the seed is sprouting. He trusts, he waits, and in time the harvest comes. So too must you learn. Rest is not surrender. Rest is faith made visible, the silent proof that you already know your wish is on its way. Discipline begins in the body, but it does not end there. The monks of Shaolin knew that true mastery comes from the mind. Muscles may grow strong through training, yet without command of thought, strength becomes unstable. The body can be disciplined for a time, but the mind, if left untrained, will wander into fear, doubt, and confusion. There is a story of a young disciple who worked tirelessly on his stances. His body stood firm, yet his eyes were restless, his thoughts scattered. The master told him to hold a single posture while keeping one thought clear in his mind. Within minutes, the disciple grew uneasy, shifting under the weight of his own doubts. The master said, "You have made your legs like stone, but your mind is still water in storm. Until the storm settles, the stance has no meaning." This is the lesson of rest. To be still does not mean to let the mind drift into worry. It is a practice of guarding the inner space, of strengthening clarity instead of feeding chaos. When you pause, you are not surrendering to uncertainty, you are sharpening focus. The stillness becomes a forge where vision is refined. The chosen ones must learn this discipline. Rest is not wasted if it brings silence to the storm inside. In fact, it is in such moments that the path becomes clear again. The wish you hold, the vision you carry, needs steady ground within you. Without clarity, even blessings can be missed. With clarity, you hold firm through waiting and rise ready when the time comes. This is mastery of thought, stillness, not as weakness, but as the strongest shield against doubt, the anchor that keeps vision unshaken. There is an old teaching told through the story of a cup. A master once poured tea for a visitor who wished to learn wisdom. He kept pouring until the cup overflowed, spilling onto the table. The visitor cried out, "Stop, it is full." The master replied, "Yes, and so are you. How can I give you anything new if your cup is already overflowing?" This story holds more than a lesson for learning. It is also a lesson for receiving. Life may be ready to pour blessings into your hands, yet if you are too crowded inside, filled with tension, worry, and noise, there is no room to hold what arrives. Rest is the way you empty the cup. It clears the inner clutter, loosens the grip of old thoughts, and creates the space needed for new gifts to settle. When your wish comes, it does not arrive as an addition to chaos. It comes as a gift that requires space. Without that space, It slips through like water poured onto stone. With it, the blessing takes root, grows, and remains. Rest, then, is not a delay. It is a sacred clearing. It strips away the unnecessary so only the essential remains. To pause is to prepare your vessel, to cleanse the cup, to make ready for what is about to pour in. Without emptiness, fullness cannot last. With emptiness, every blessing has room to stay. Shaolin practice treats emptiness not as loss, but as preparation. The monk who empties himself of distraction becomes receptive to clarity. The warrior who empties his body of strain becomes ready for strength. The seeker who empties the mind of doubt becomes open to guidance. Patience is often mistaken for passivity, but in the ancient traditions, it is seen as one of the highest forms of strength. To wait without breaking, to endure without complaint, this is not weakness, it is mastery. The chosen are not rushed by time, because they know what is theirs cannot be hurried, and what is real cannot be lost. In Shaolin training, patience is tested in ways that go beyond the body. A disciple might be told to stand for hours in a single posture, legs burning, arms trembling. The point was not to punish the body, but to teach the mind endurance. One story tells of a young monk placed beneath a waterfall, ordered to remain unmoved as the force of water crashed upon him. He could not fight it. To resist would only exhaust him. Instead, he learned to root himself like stone, letting the water pass without shaking his ground. That was the lesson. True patience is not fragile waiting but immovable strength. Rest holds the same teaching. In stillness, impatience rises like waves, tempting you to act before the time is right. But if you remain, if you let those waves break without pulling you away, you begin to taste the power of patience. This endurance prepares you for more than the wish you are waiting on. It prepares you for the weight of responsibility that will come with it. Before every act of power, there is a moment of stillness. The monk does not rush into meditation. The bell is struck only after silence has filled the hall. The warrior does not leap into combat. He bows first, grounding himself before the clash begins. These rituals are not empty tradition. They are reminders that silence prepares the spirit for action. Every blessing demands strength to hold it. Without patience, you may reach too soon and crumble under the weight. With patience, you arrive steady, unshaken, ready to carry what life entrusts to you. Rest, therefore, is not just recovery. It is the quiet forge where patience is made and where true strength takes root. There is an old tale of a general who would sit quietly with closed eyes before leading his army into battle. His soldiers grew restless, mistaking his silence for hesitation. But when he rose, his voice carried such weight and his command such clarity that the men felt as if they had already won. Later, when asked why he delayed, the general replied, "I was not delaying, I was aligning myself with the moment. To act without silence first is to act half-blind." So it is with your own path. The pause you are in now is not an accident. It is sacred. It may feel as though nothing is happening, but in truth, everything is gathering. This is your bow before the fight, your meditation before the bell. It is the breath that steadies you before the leap. The chosen must learn to honor this pause, rather than resist it. For soon the call will arrive, the opportunity, the shift, the opening of the door you have been waiting for. When that moment comes, hesitation will fall away, because you will already be prepared. Rest now in this silence. It is not the end of the journey, but its beginning. The stillness you embrace today is the very strength that will allow you to rise tomorrow without fear, without doubt, and without delay.